case without interruption. So he keeps asking questions and interrupting the judges. This unfortunate lawyer carried to court a volume of laws that had insects in there, including cockroaches. So in addition to the irritating judge, when he saw a cockroach slide out of the books, the judge screams, "What? A cockroach at the bar?" The poor lawyer says, "My lord, sometimes they cross over to the bench." Thank you very much. So, Family Watch Africa is an organization incorporated in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. We spend our time protecting the family. The attacks to the family are contained in legislation, in policy, and these days in litigation. So we developed a relationship with the African Bar Association because lawyers, though we are, learned as we call ourselves, there are quite a few things we do not know. So it so happens that we might end up riding along with the tide and forget that we have a duty to protect the African family. All our constitutions have that common phrase: the family is the basic unit of society that shall enjoy protection of the state. But when you check our pieces of legislation, you will not find a specific law protecting the family based on the current challenges, except the Marriage Act probably, except the law that allows man and woman to join unions. Yet it is the case that whether we are dualist or monist in our countries, there is an increasing weaponization of trade agreements with content that is not very favorable to the African family. We are thankful that the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is not yet contaminated. But we know that the agreement between the European Union and the African, Caribbean, and Pacific states is already contaminated. We know that the Economic Partnership Agreement between the EU and the East African states is already contaminated. We also know that right now negotiations are going on between the United States and the government of Kenya, and the kind of human rights being asked of Kenya to guarantee are not favorable to the family, the African family. We know that some of our jurisdictions have adopted an interpretation of family law that is also sympathetic to an approach that undermines the African family. And all this is happening at a time when our regional instruments are not very emphatic on the protection of the African family. There will be presentations tomorrow at the human rights session and on Wednesday at the family law session that will help break down what needs to be done in legislation and in litigation to protect the African family. At the first Inter-Parliamentary Conference on Protection of Family Values and Sovereignty, March 31st and April 1st, 2023 in Kampala, there were members of parliament from 22 African countries. They generated what is called the African Declaration on the post-Cotonou ACP-EU agreement, and the declaration on pornography that leads to exploitation of women and children. Distinguished colleagues, this is the starting point to get Africa to a legislation, to a protocol, to a charter that will protect the African family. We have the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. We have the Charter on the Protection of the Rights of Children and the Welfare of Children. We have a protocol on the rights of women. We don't yet have a protocol or a charter on the protection of the family. AFBA will be a useful entity to work with. The lawyers in this room will do well to affirm the path towards an African regional instrument that will protect the family. So please attend the session on human rights tomorrow and the family law session on Wednesday afternoon so that these ideas are pulled together towards a charter on the protection of the family for Africa. Thank you very much for the opportunity.